Hello friends, Mandar here. I'm back with another video. It's been a while I made a video and last time I talked about 1099 versus W2 in short. So today's video is details about 1099 versus W2. How you can choose one or the other depending on your situation and what are the pros and cons of it. We'll talk in detail. Now that all the sentiments related to the October visa bulletin and retrogression are out of the way, things must have calmed down and we are now ready to talk about some other topics. And now that a lot of people have got their green cards, now might be a perfect time to see what does it mean to be an independent contractor versus a consultant. Now if you are working as a full-time employee for a big company like tech company or any of the big companies, then you might not be considering working as an independent contractor. But if you are still in the consulting industry, consultants or big four consultants, things like that, you might have an option to work as an independent contractor and make few more bucks than being as an employee. So watch this video until the end and let's get started. If you are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Mandar and I make immigration and lifestyle related videos for US and Canada. I'm not an immigration lawyer, so anything that I say on this video or on my channel is for information purpose only. And for your specific immigration needs, before you take any action, you should hire a competent immigration lawyer. Now my today's video is on my new iPhone. Mind you, all of my videos have been on iPhone, believe it or not. I don't have a dedicated camera, I was not much into the cameras anyways. With about 250 videos on a phone, it's not bad. And before we go any further, do check out the links in the description. There are some product links and if you want to buy some of those products, the channel will get a little bit of a commission. And just some interesting fact, I was at a 5K run for a charity yesterday and I got a trophy, believe it or not. I never get anything, so this was kind of a good moment for me. And I was also able to try out my Apple Watch Ultra that I just got. I'm also working on another channel where I test out some of these products. So do check out that channel. Now let's talk about independent contractor versus an employee. Now most of you must have been an employee. So when we come from India or anywhere else, we usually come on a visa and that allows us to work for a particular company for full time. And that automatically puts us into a W2 category. So W2 is a form that the company gives us to fill our tax returns at the end of the year. So W2 means you are working full time for an employer, they give you all the benefits and things like that, and they also pay your payroll taxes on it. They also withhold your taxes because you are on W2, so that when you file your tax returns, you're not surprised with a big tax bill because you have already paid some of your taxes with the withholding of your taxes that is done by your W2 employer. So there are some benefits to it. So most of you may be already aware of the W2. But what is 1099? 1099 is a form given by any entity to you because you have performed some services for them for a specific amount of time. And one instance of that is being an independent contractor. So say for instance, you are working for a company for a couple of hours, not full time, or even if it's full time, you are working on an hourly basis. So it doesn't matter if you work for 4 hours a week or 10 hours a week or entire 40 hours a week. You're working on an hourly basis. So you get paid for only number of hours that you work for that employer. Now, if you are working for a consulting company, say for instance, you have a direct employer and then that employer has you go to the client locations or work for different. Now in this case, you are splitting your hours in different clients or different areas. So what you can do is you can either work as a full-time employee for that consulting agency and get your W2, or you can work as an independent contractor. Now independent contractor in the sense you can bill the company that you are working for the amount of hours that you have worked for them. And you may have a specific rate that you have agreed to with the company and you will only get paid for those number of hours as per that particular rate as an independent consultant. Now as an independent contractor, you may not be eligible for any employee benefits. So you may not be eligible for medical, dental, subsidized medical, dental, or short-term or long-term disability and so on, or even life insurance and so on. You only get the dollar amount equal to the number of hours you worked into the hourly rate that was agreed to with you. So now when you get that amount, it's totally up to you how you get your medical insurance, how you get your dental insurance, vision, and all those other benefits that you would have actually got as an employee. Now as an independent contractor, you will have to deal with all of those yourself. So that is the basic difference. Now just to recap, 1099 is a form given by an employer to an independent contractor to report the number of hours and the pay that they have received for those number of hours worked by that independent contractor to that employee. And this is the form 1099 miscellaneous that is used by the independent contractor to file their taxes, whereas W2 is given to the direct permanent employee, and that W2 can be used by that employee to file their taxes. So both the forms 1099 and W2 are used to file the taxes. Now, how does IRS actually differentiate between an employee and independent contractor? So I know for sure that some of you are interested in stock trading, day trading, buying cryptocurrencies. I want to present you WeBull. WeBull is a trading platform. It allows you to buy stocks, it allows you to buy options, do options trading, and also it allows you to buy cryptocurrency. It can be done on the computer or on the mobile app. Now, if you use my link, which is on the screen and also in the description, you will get some free stocks. Now only for the month of August, WeBull has announced that it will give 12 free stocks if you use my link, and those free stocks will be valued up to maximum of $30,600. So when you open an account using my link, you will get 2 free fractional share stocks. That value could be anywhere between $3 to $300. If you deposit at least 1 penny, you will get 4 to 10 free additional stocks valued from $7 to $3,000. So that's 12 stocks from WeBull free for you if you use my link, and enjoy your free stocks. Say for instance, you are an employee, you are working for an employer for 40 hours a week. That becomes a full-time job that you have with that employer with full benefits and all. So what if there is an independent contractor who is working for the same employer for 40 hours a week? So it becomes a full-time employment as well. The only difference is that independent contractor is not getting all the benefits. They are just getting a lump sum payment at the end of the pay period for the number of hours that they have worked. So from the IRS perspective, how does this differentiate? So now it all comes down to 3 basic points. One is, does the employer control what the employee does? So there is a subtle difference. In an employee kind of situation, your role or what you do for the company is based on your job description, and it can vary based on a particular day or a particular project and things like that. So that is a flexibility that the employer has on the employee, on the kind of work that the employee can do for the employer. So there is a lot of influence of employer on the kind of work and what type of work does the employee does for that company. Whereas for the contractor or an independent contractor, it is based on the contract. So basically the reason why they are contractors is because there is a contract signed between that individual contractor and the company, and there are terms and conditions in relation to the job. So say for instance, the independent contractor could be a business analyst or a project manager or a software developer or something else, and they have to remain within those confines bound by that contract. So the employer does not have a lot of influence on the flexibility of the work that this independent contractor is going to do. The independent contractor is expected to remain within the bounds of the contract of the service that is being provided by that contractor to the employer. So I hope that makes sense. Another thing is, for employee, it is pretty straightforward. The employer gives benefits to an employee, whereas for the independent consultant or independent contractor, the employer does not have any say in terms of the independent contractor manage its finances or gets their benefits. All they do is they cut a check at the end of every pay period based on the number of hours that the independent contractor worked for that employee. Now from the company's perspective, it is very critical to differentiate clearly between employees and contractors, because there are certain financial implications for the employer in terms of differentiating between an employee and an individual contractor, because there are payroll tax obligations, there are other tax obligations when it comes to paying the employee versus paying the contractors. So the employer has to be very careful in defining what is the employee versus an individual contractor. Now let's look at some of the benefits from the employer's perspective in terms of hiring an independent contractor versus an employee. Now benefits of hiring an independent contractor sometimes is in terms of skill set. So if there are very niche skill sets required for a particular type of job, in many instances it is beneficial to hire an independent contractor. So say for instance, there is a huge project, there is a large project in which you need a specific skill sets. Say for instance, you need a geologist for a certain segment of your project. That skill set is not required for the entire duration of the project or for the program. So in that case, if you hire an employee for that purpose, it becomes an obligation for an employer to pay that employee from start to finish of that project. So for the entire duration of the project. Whereas if you hire an independent consultant, you can have a specific contract length for the duration of time that is required by that particular skill set by that independent contractor. So in the end, you end up spending less than having to hire an employee for that particular job. The second thing is, if you have a ramp up and ramp down kind of situation where you have variability in certain aspects of the job. Say for instance, there is a testing to be done for a large piece of software that you have developed. Now these testing cycles may go up and down throughout the year. Now in those situations, you could have a core team of employees doing the testing, but you need a variability in that particular case where you need to ramp up some testers and then ramp down those testers. In this situation, you may choose to hire independent contractors, because in that case you can quickly write up a contract. You are not obligated to hire these people and train these people for a lengthy period of time. Instead, you can just hire them for their skill set for a specific duration of the task. Now this gives a lot of flexibility for the employer. Now there are some downsides for hiring an independent consultant. As I said before, the employee does not have a lot of control on what the independent contractor can do, because everything is bound to the contract that they have signed with the employer. So in that case, from the independent contractor's perspective, it is very clear, it is very black and white what they are obligated to do and what they are not obligated to do. Whereas from the employee perspective, although your job description or job profile is defined, there are days where you step out of your job profile and do something else because you want to grow in the company and you want to acquire certain skill set, and there is more influence of employer on the employee than they would have on an independent contractor. Now from the employee's perspective, whether you should choose 1099 or W2 entirely depends on you. It depends on the salary. Look at your salary, how much you get take home salary, including all the benefits and all the things that you are getting as bonuses and things like that, and then divide that entire amount by the number of hours that you have worked for the entire year, so about 2000 hours, and then come up with that number. That will be your total compensation rate. Now compare that with if you were to work for the same employer as an independent contractor, and what is the rate for that particular situation. So if the rate is different, and in most situations it will be different, because independent consultants don't get any benefits, so thus they get a higher rate for the services that they provide than an employee would get. So in that case, if purely earning more money is your choice, then it might help to become an independent contractor. The second instance is if both spouses are working. So say for instance, one spouse is working as a W2 and getting all the benefits including medical, dental for their entire family. The second spouse can choose to work as an independent consultant. That way they can earn more by getting the higher rate from the independent contractor perspective on 1099, and also avail all the benefits of medical, dental to their spouses. So that could be a scenario. There is third benefit is the tax difference. Now there is a huge tax difference in terms of what you pay as an independent consultant, and depending on what kind of a corporate entity that you form. If you form an LLC or sole proprietorship or a company, you have a different tax rate than your W2 tax rate. and that could be a significant saving as a independent consultant. The tax rates for independent consultants used to be 20%. They were dropped down to 15. At this moment, I still believe that it's at 20%, but I have to double check on that. But it is significantly lower than what you would pay as an employee on income taxes. Other things that 1099 has that W2 does not have are the benefits of doing your taxable income deduction or itemizing your deduction. There are a lot of things that you could itemize as deduction in your taxable income when you are on 1099. There is less flexibility to do so on W2 so there is a double benefit for 1099. You pay lesser tax bracket, you are into a lesser tax bracket, plus you are able to deduct a lot of expenses, business expenses from your taxable income. So that is another big benefit of 1099. Now mind you, there is a lot of work if you are working as a 1099 employee or a 1099 independent contractor for a company. Although you get a lump sum amount and you get it much significantly higher than what you would earn as an employee, you have to consider pros and cons for your individual situation. If you are if you are unmarried, or if you don't have benefits from your spouse's work, if your spouse is not working, all the expenses for medical, dental and all of those fall on you. So in that case, you have to weigh the pros and cons of being as a W2 employee versus 1099 independent contractor. So every situation is different, but these are some of the points that I wanted to kind of give you. In future videos, I'm going to talk more about the benefits such as medical, dental, how to choose them if you happen to be an independent contractor, 401k, what are the kind of investment plans that you should invest in. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel so far, please do subscribe and hit that like button, because that helps the channel a lot to spread across in the algorithm. Also, now that a lot of people have gotten their green cards, you may have a lot of ideas for startups and things like that. So if you want to get your word out, if you have a brilliant idea and if you want to collaborate with other people in the community, I'm going to invite people to my channel to describe their idea, to describe their startup idea, so that it can get some outreach and potentially forge some relationships where you could collaborate with others on this channel for your startup idea. So that is coming next. So if you want to get in touch with me, please write me an email. I'll put the email in the description of this video, and let me know, and I can bring you on the channel. So that's really what I wanted to say in this video. If you like the content of this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.